In the northern part of Columbus, Georgia, runs Twin Chapel Creek. It's a tiny creek that runs through a largely residential area. Mostly shielded by woods and bushes, the small creek is barely noticeable to passerbys, but those in the know make sure to steer clear. They claim it is haunted by the spirit of a clown, sitting on the banks at night, just silently weeping. That quick little story was a head-scratcher for sure. No one knew much more than that. Then I did some digging, and you'll never guess what I found. Everyone loves a good, strange, weird, or bizarre story. Well, welcome to the American South, where dark legends and haunted history lurk around every corner. Where superstition, folklore, and a touch of backwoods magic blend with everyday culture. Some say, in order to survive. This is Dixie After Dark. In late November 1915, the Con T. Kennedy shows were packing up in Atlanta, Georgia, getting ready to travel by train to their next stop in what is present-day Phenix City, Alabama. The performers were riding on Cloud 9, having just spent the weekend performing to their largest audience to date. The show's main attraction, the underground Chinatown show, drew in the largest crowds. The massive tent contained a labyrinth of constructions depicting the urban legends of tunnels beneath San Francisco where human trafficking, drug runners, and all sorts of shady dealings were said to take place. The circus also contained a large amount of other shows in separate tents: motorcycle daredevils, a Wild West exhibition, art shows, performing horses, and sideshow freaks. All performances were also accompanied with various mechanical rides and smaller attractions, making the Con T. Kennedy shows one of the larger touring circuses in the area. On November 22, 1915, 3 days before Thanksgiving, the troops train departed Atlanta, ready to keep the momentum of their recent attendance records going in nearby Girard, Alabama, what later became known as present-day Phenix City. The Con T. Kennedy shows was hired for the celebration of the opening of the Dillingham Street Bridge. While the circus train headed south toward Columbus, Georgia, a passenger train headed to Macon, Georgia was boarding at the same time. The passenger train was instructed to wait at Muskogee Junction. Now, whether the order was lost, ignored, or departure times were confused is still up in the air, even 100 years later. What is known is that the passenger train never waited. 6.5 miles east of the core of Columbus, Georgia, the two trains collided head-on at 30 miles per hour. The people aboard the Central of Georgia passenger train were unharmed, mostly protected by the steel construction of their passenger cars. The occupants of the wooden Con T. Kennedy shows train were not so lucky. The old wooden train never derailed, but the 28 cars telescoped into the train's engine, the old broken and shattered wood bursting into flames. The oil used to weatherproof the circus tents only escalated the fire. Many on board were instantly trapped as the fire raged on through the wreckage. The exact number of victims is still not known, but it's estimated that at least a dozen people lost their lives that day. Local news reports at the time put the death toll at 7, later revising that to 24. only to drop that number again later to 15. The show's owner put the count at 18. The Columbus Ledger does point out that there is a possibility that several showmen of whom no record was kept were lost. Oddly enough, a torso of a woman was found floating in the nearby creek, although all women had been accounted for. The speculation is that this was one of the unidentified performers, secretly working for the circus in the disguise of a man. It's reported that 2 train cars loaded with animals were also completely consumed in fire. The remains that could be gathered, along with the mixed-up ashes of the train, animals, and people, were buried in a mass grave in nearby Riverdale Cemetery, and a memorial service was held at the First Baptist Church. A year later, the circus owner, Mr. Kennedy, commissioned a monument to be placed at the site of the mass grave. The monument is in the shape of a circus tent and has become one of the most visited grave sites in Riverdale Cemetery. One side reads, "Erected by the Con T. Kennedy shows, in memory of their comrades who lost their lives in a railroad wreck near Columbus, Georgia, November 22nd, 1915. The opposite side reads, "We'll not forget thee, we who stay, to work a little longer here. Thy name, thy faith, thy love shall be on memory's tablet bright and clear. And when, O wearied by the toil of life, our heavy limbs shall be, we'll come and one by one lie down upon dear Mother Earth with thee." As one could guess, this tragedy has produced its own hauntings around the area. The mysterious torso that was originally found in the creek at the accident site is still viewed by some today. It's said that the torso can still be found floating in Bull Creek on dark nights, only to be gone when people try to get closer. There's also the Weeping Clown, mentioned at the beginning of this episode at nearby Twin Chapel Creek. Whether this haunting is connected to the train wreck or not isn't known, but it is easy speculation. It also doesn't go without notice that Riverdale Cemetery is directly across from South Commons of Columbus, a softball complex and civic center. Every year in October, the parking lot of South Commons comes alive with an annual fair, and as you can imagine, many spooky tales have been reported. Some have reported seeing a male in older style clothes walking among the fairgoers. Other reoccurring stories are that of a young boy, also dressed in old-timey clothes, asking people for a nickel to ride the train. There's also reports of a couple that are known to appear, then disappear, in vacant cars of the Ferris wheel. Another spirit of a clown has been reported in the area, repeatedly seen riding a bicycle near Oxbow Meadows at night. That story says the clown just rides the roadways, then vanishes when caught in headlights. Whether all of these events are connected or just circumstance remains to be seen. If they are just circumstance, then I have no idea where these ghost clowns are coming from. I'll keep digging though, and rest assured, if I find something new, I'll definitely let you know. The presence of ghost clowns is just weird enough to keep my research going.